Hi, welcome to Transform and Thrive podcasts. It's a space for honest conversations about growth, healing, leadership, and becoming. I'm Jessalyn Lamb, a growth mindset coach, author, speaker, and founder of Transform and Thrive. And I believe transformation begins with awareness, growth happens with intention, and thriving is not about perfection, it's about becoming more fully yourself. So each episode is guided by the Thrive framework, which includes transformation, humanity, rest, intention, vulnerability, and evolution. So together we'll explore the experiences that shape us, ground us, challenge us, and help us grow. And my hope is that each conversation we have helps you reflect, rise, and radiate so that you can transform and thrive. And today's guest I'm so excited to have here is Alexina Atin Shaber, a voice and influence coach, workshop facilitator, and speaker, teaching adults the emotional education and communication skills they never learned in school. And before this, she spent 15 plus years in brand marketing across agencies, startups, and tech, including Wieden+Kennedy and Apple. And she later built her multicultural storytelling platform before shifting fully into coaching and work that's taken her into Fortune 500 workshops and organizations like AdColor. And today she helps leaders and teams communicate from the inside out, building self awareness, emotional intelligence, and voice it takes to lead with real influence and impact. So, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, Jessalyn.
Of
So happy to be
course.
here.
Amazing. Well, so let's begin. So, as we get started, I would love to hear from you. What does thriving mean to you?
It's such a good word. And I have to confess that I'm a little bit of like a linguistics nerd. And because I have a multicultural and multilingual background, I love learning the root of words just to see how far we've come sometimes from what they originally meant and intended versus how we use them now. And when I did my little research on the word thrive, it originally means to grasp oneself. And I thought that was
Wow.
really interesting because when I think about the idea of thriving for myself personally, it's that throughout my journey, I have found myself in a pattern of avoidance, and that divide continued to create this like cognitive dissonance in me and continue to create something that felt like something's not right. I was living on other people's terms. I was living for other people's dreams. And it wasn't until I started being really intentional about and not avoiding myself and my desires and my dreams and taking conscious steps towards them, as uneasy and as uncomfortable and as, getting to work for some of the most prolific agencies and startups and tech, even starting my own business, like that didn't feel as uncomfortable as finally setting out on my own path that does feel very aligned and continues to take shape. So I think thriving for me means to genuinely to grasp myself, to grasp what I want and to follow through with that. So I liked the original meaning and I was like, I'm going to go with that.
I love that. And I didn't even know that either. So, that's a really fun fact. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, and you have such a great journey from everything you've experienced. I'd love to hear like what transformation you're most proud of.
Well, the greatest transformation I've ever made, and I think this can be true for a lot of people, but becoming a parent was
Mhm.
definitely the greatest transformation I've had to go through and that I've chosen to go through because choosing to have a child is a massive responsibility. And you have to be accountable to your decisions and then be accountable to the fact that you are their guides, but they are incredible teachers and to
Mhm.
allow that process to change you. I really decided that once I had kids, I better get my ish together and as quickly as possible because it's not just my life that's impacted. And it's never really just our lives that are impacted. It's everybody that's around us. But our children are so highly sensitive and highly attuned, I think, to how we are, especially the people that are the birthing people, that they were
Mhm.
inside of us for so long. Like there's something there that they're able to identify and witness us in ways that we don't often even want to look at ourselves. And my kid's been a really incredible teacher because no matter how much work I've done and how much I'm growing, which doesn't always feel good. Transformation never, no one promised transformation to be easy. But in order to change, again, the linguistic root to change shape, transform, change shape, literally, go beyond the shape that you originally were, you have to stretch and grow and be able to look at yourself and be able to look at your actions and your decisions. And so my kid has been this beautiful, tiny little flashlight to being like, "Oh, you thought you had figured that. No, you still have some work to do right here. And by the way, over here, some work you could be doing right here too. And then don't forget, whenever you get some time, maybe over here, just see what's going on over there." And you're like, well, thank you. I thank you, teacher. Why, thank you. So I think becoming a parent has been like the single greatest transformation of my life. I don't think everybody needs to become a parent to transform and to change. That happens to be my journey, but I have to give myself and my kid a lot of credit that they've been the biggest motivator for me to change and to change in my career and the things that
Mhm.
I want to do. Because like I said, the thriving was honestly a commitment to him that once he starts having memories of me working, I wanted it to be of me doing something that I genuinely enjoyed and I genuinely loved. And what I love most is working with other people and understanding other people and in doing so understand myself as well. And so it's a beautiful symbiotic relationship here. But yeah,
I love
that's
that,
been
and I remember you mentioning that to me, so I'm glad you brought that up here because it's so beautiful of their our kids are like mirrors of what we are, and then for you to be really intentional to wanna role model that and do what brings you joy and lights you up to show that to your kids too. So it definitely I definitely can relate being a parent too, and it's the greatest gift and blessing and it transforms and stretches us and thank you for saying it, the definition of transformation being like I didn't even know that about really changing the shape because it does stretch us in ways where we didn't even know exist or it's bringing you in direction where like what is happening here and then understanding like what are we learning from this and growing from it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's if you can have that perspective of this is helping me I like grow and identify how I need to grow and not like in a like hustle culture of like gotta heal everything. It's more of a, oh cool, thanks for making me aware of that. And cool.
Right.
We'll try again different next time.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, like even when it comes to the hustle culture, it's definitely something that we're not. I know you and I relate of not trying to like be about the hustle culture, and I appreciate we have conversations about humanity and how that's so important. So I am curious, how do you stay grounded in your humanity, especially in a world that we live in now, where it prioritizes like productivity over presence?
Ooh, I got goosebumps with that one because I'd say it's even beyond productivity. It's back to that avoidance topic that I mentioned earlier. I think we are very distracted on purpose. We find hypnotic ways of escaping the realities of our world and the realities and the suffering and the things that are just unspeakable and unbearable. And humanity is genuinely I don't know if similar to the linguistics, I always think that our names are a bit of a fingerprint, what we're named. We were talking about our names right before this. Our names are a bit of our fingerprint in this life. And I found in learning, humanity's been a big part of my life growing up as a child, highly sensitive kid, highly sensitive to the suffering of the world. My mom loves to tell this story about I wrote to Santa, which by the way, neither my parents were Muslim and Jewish, so I was writing to Santa, of course, as one does. And I was asking when she found the letter and she's like, okay, it's going to be like Disneyland and like a doll. And
Mhm.
it's going to be she was like, I know what this is. And the first was, please let all children have their own room and toys. Please don't send anybody to war so they get hurt or die. Please make sure that like anybody that's sick gets the help that they need. And she like kept reading this list and was like, "Are you kidding?" And I was like 5, you know. And she's like, these are your wishes. Like these are the wishes that I had at such a young age." And I say that because when I found out what my name meant, Alexina, it's a derivative of Alexander, uh, and Alexander, and it means protector of humankind.
Oh, wow.
And when I learned that, because again, people have always been my thing. I love humans. I
Mhm.
love humans so much. And I believe in inalienable human rights that we all must be able to receive. And like there is a baseline for that. Like there is something that like all humans should have the security and the resources like that they need to not just survive but to grow and be living on this. We're all living on this planet together. Like you can't see the borders from space. Like we're all on this together. The only people we have to respond to are each other. And your question about humanity, the question was how I'm grounded in my humanity to be a protector of humankind, which is like a charge I take very seriously. It doesn't mean that I have to shield everybody, but it does mean in my way, the way that I can be a protector of humankind is by sharing whatever tools or knowledge that I have about our healing process, about
Mhm.
our self reflection, about our understanding of our emotions. In the bio, we were saying, I'm teaching social and emotional learning and communication to generations of people that never had that. We are under resourced humans living in an ever evolving world. And it's not easy and it's not our fault that we don't have the resources, but we do know them and we should share them. And the more that I can be a facilitator of that and be a teacher for that and be because I've lived through a lot in my life and I've experienced a lot and I come from lots of different places and faiths and I get to see all of us because I am this prism of perspective. I get to see all the other perspectives and universes as for like what they are. And so I'm constantly grounded in my humanity. Everything I do is for humankind to feel safe and to grow and to thrive as they are. So I believe in the power that we hold. It's always power to the people. It always has been for me. So long answer.
No, I love that because even as I was hearing you say that, it reminded me of how we met through the compassionate leadership course, and we met briefly through that from the virtual breakout rooms that we were in. And even though I didn't know that much about you, now that I know more about you, I'm like, yes, yes to all of this. But you were even being able to hold space for being
Mm,
human, and so you do have this like powerful presence, and I love like everything you're doing to introduce that to more people in the world because we definitely need it.
thank you.
Yeah.
I really thank you and I receive it and I appreciate it, Jessica.
Well, and considering everything you're doing for everyone else, an important question I always like to ask people is how does rest play in your life?
Living that active toddler life, am I right? Rest, I've redefined rest in
Mhm.
a way that I want to be really intentional about it because I burned out a lot in the first 15 years of my career. I didn't have strong agreements with myself or like clear boundaries with like places I worked and my body suffered, my health suffered even in my like young 20s. Like we're vital. We got vitality, but if you burn yourself out, it doesn't matter how old you are. Like you're gonna. it's gonna come for you. Like if your body, you're not listening to your body and the signs of your body, it's one way or another, it's gonna make you listen. So rest for me now is a little different than maybe how other people would think about it. I've become really intentional with how I want the next 15 years of my career to look very different than the last 15 years of my career. And I have taken this approach of being a lot more intentional, a lot more intuitive with how I approach my business, the connections that I'm forging, the aligned connections that I'm forging, allowing myself to flow in the way that I think needs to happen. And of course, there's rigor and there's business and there's structures and systems, but I'm trying to trust myself more, and in that self trust, I am attracting more than I am hustling to try to figure it out, because I tried that and that didn't work for me. And therefore, I'm going to try something new. And it might require a bit more sustained growth, but I do believe that rest can, and taking on an entrepreneurial role or a coaching role, you get to be a lot more flexible with your time and the energy and the flow that you have. Like sometimes I am awake and writing my best stuff, working on my best stuff at 11 p.m. till like 1 a.m. It's like I'm super creative. I like nothing can stop me. There's nobody that needs anything. I could want for nothing more. I am just like focused and in it. But then sometimes I just like want to go get a lunch with a friend in the middle of the week. And I'm going to let myself be like, I'm going to be just as productive. I'm going to be just as focused. I'm going to be just as intentional, but I'm going to let it be with my own rhythm rather than in a set structure that wasn't really set to begin with. It was 9 to whenever it finished, you
Mhm.
know?
Right.
So that's kind of how I'm looking at rest, is creating this new rhythm that incorporates it no matter what. And then there are times in my life when like I gotta work hard. There's a lot lined up. I gotta get it done, and I can do that. And I trust myself to do that. But the rest is omnipresent now, which is nice.
And I love how you're saying it's like this rhythm and how you're really trusting yourself. So you're trusting your whole mind, body, soul of like and making sure you're incorporating rest as just a part of your life.
Yeah, that's we're practicing it. We're definitely
We're
it's
making a
definitely
work
a
in
practice.
progress for sure,
Yeah.
especially with toddler life. It's a lot. It's like pockets of time sometimes.
Right. Oh, it's so fun.
And I love how you mentioned intentions because I would love to hear like what are you intentionally choosing for yourself right now?
Mm. I guess I'm just intentionally choosing that rhythm and choosing that pace, because it's
Mhm.
only in the getting to a place of rest that I can get clear enough and hear what I need to do next.
Yeah.
It's when I'm in the zone, it's like there music, like I listen to a lot of music when I'm working because I get it really locks me in, especially like a high BPM. Like I run on like a higher BPM a lot of the time, a lot of house music, a lot of like just like pump it up, you know? But in order for me to listen and hear what I need to do next, or allow myself to be like, ah, that person I haven't heard from, how's that person doing? Like, just follow the curiosity, but I need to get intentionally quiet enough to let that pop up and to let that ping me in the way that I need to hear it. Or else I can be very much like, okay, I'll sit with my schedule and that's cool. But if a better idea comes along, I want to like make sure that I'm honoring that too, because that's often where I've gotten the most traction and where just like really cool things are on always that other side. So trying to, again, it's a practice, but in all of this is new ish for me, this year. So been really excited about it because it's just a very different way of working than at any of the companies or places. In a lot of those places, we knew the dance. We just knew all the steps. So like any new
Right.
choreography,
And
we're
you're
like,
on
oh, process,
autopilot.
we get it. Like
Mhm.
we're making it happen. We're making it work. And I love my first 15 years of my career because it put me in front of so many different people, which is why I can do the work that I'm doing now. It's my whole life. I've been in front of so many different types of people, learning how to communicate with different types of people, learning what makes them, well, like how to develop trust with people quickly, how to identify the best ways of working with certain people, or like what they need, or how to ask them a question, or how to translate ideas and relationships. And just like that was a PhD in learning how to work with people. And now I'm like, okay, how do I consciously, intentionally work with people now that I have this incredible, study that I've done? And I took it very seriously again, because I really love people. I really care about people. My team, it was like the team. It had to feel like a team. Everyone had to feel like they were like being valued and brought in for the right reasons. And we were all making it happen together. It was always very collaborative. And so anyway, I'm just trying to bring, I guess, intentionally bringing some of that energy also with me, even when you're working on your for yourself.
Mhm.
It's so two things: the the collaborations, Allah, hello, and then just the like intentionally getting like slowing down and listening.
Yeah, you're, like, collaborating with people intentionally, and then I love that you're slowing down and really listening to your intuition and what it's saying to you. Yeah.
Inshallah, inshallah, that's like what I'm doing.
Which is not easy. I mean, that leads me to even the topic of, like, vulnerability. It puts us in a place of, like, okay,
Mhm.
what's true? What's happening here? So, like, how has vulnerability shaped the way you show up?
Oh man, in every way. I love swimming in deep waters with people. To me, that's like the fun place to be because there's no pretense. I already
Mhm.
like you. I already know you. You seem to like me. Like we're just like excavating and deep diving and looking at coral reefs together and being like, "Oh my gosh, you do that? Well, when did you start doing that? Who introduced you to that? Oh my goodness." Like I get really excited when I meet new people or people I know and love for a very long time because every human is this universe. And I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, let's go. Let's go. Like the ocean is their its own universe. Like, let's go. Let's go see what's up in there. Because I also know the type of universe that I am, and it's unlimited. There's no floor. There's no floor and there's no ceiling. And it's wild. It's a journey to get to know somebody. And so I love the adventurous like spirit. I love getting to know people. I love asking questions. I love when people say, dang, I've never told anybody this before. Whoa. Okay. So, like, favorite, because I'm like, yes, I excavated to a new place. It's like, it's so fun. It's so
Yeah.
fun to learn about people and why they are the way they are and what they love and what they don't love and why. And like, just, it's a very seeker mentality, but specific to like humans and the the world around us, but I love it. And so as many people would know, especially speaking coaches, the best way to build a connection with somebody is through being vulnerable, is by making this first step.
Yeah.
There is no depth without vulnerability. I just had lunch with a new friend. It was our first time getting lunch together. I met her at an event and she's like, "Let's go to lunch. You're cool." And I'm like, "You're cool too. And you're like 10 years older than me. And like, I could learn from you. And and you also seem awesome." And anyway, within the first 25 seconds, we were talking about grief.
Mhm.
Like, "Hi, let's sit down." Like, "Okay. So like, let's talk." And it's like, somehow we just started talking about grief within the first like 30 seconds of talking to each other. And do you know what that does? That takes you like deep
Yeah.
fast. And it requires you to do the same. And it requires you to be able to to let other people in on you too. And I understand that not everybody is like that. And some people are very private and that's perfectly okay. But for me, when I develop connections, vulnerability is table stakes. Because for me, swimming in the shallows, like, there's no shallow part of me.
And
I'm deep water.
that says a
So,
lot about you, where it's not just surface level, which a lot of connections, especially in the beginning, are like that. And you're creating this psychological safety when you're connecting with people
mhm,
to dive right in and be able to open up because it's how
yeah,
you're showing up. So it definitely says a lot about you, and I have experienced that too, just being able to know you and continue to grow our friendship too. So I do feel like vulnerability is a big part of how you show up.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to get to know people and hold
Mhm.
space for them and to yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and then moving on to the last part of Thrive is one of my favorite parts is of evolution and being able to ask you how are you evolving in this season of life of like who are you becoming?
I Today I had a moment. I asked my intuition, the guides, to get some clarity on something that I am looking forward to building. And I already had an idea of it. And the funny thing was is that this vision that came back to me today was something that I actually like learned about for the first time 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when I was in like some of the deepest grief of my life. And it's learning about this place and space actually got me through that period where grief can feel really isolating and it's a journey and everybody's on the journey at different times. And we just have to accept that we're on it, you know? And I got this vision back that I hadn't thought about in years. Back then it was like, whoa, that'd be cool. And now with all the work that I've done, I wasn't ready to see it then, but I was ready to see now that I'm meant to build this very big thing. I got really anxious and I started crying. And I texted one of my best friends who's very wise and one of my best friends from college. And I said, what do you do when when you are looking at the bigness of your vision and you feel like you're really far away from it because you know the work you have to do to be able to get to that point. It scared me. And her response was really awesome. She said, you know, isn't it because the whole idea is it's this school, the space around social and emotional learning for adults. And she's like, "Well, isn't that beautiful that you have this like healthy dose of self-doubt that you're the person that's like meant to bring this to life because it's a place where you're going to be helping other people through that same experience and same container of showing them what their doubt, their fears, what their scarcity, their all the things that might be stopping them. You're not going to let it stop you. You might be intimidated by the bigness of this, but of anybody that I know, you are the most capable person and you're not going to do it alone. And I was really grateful for that. Obviously, that's why I like, chosen family is sacred. But I'm really excited not to do it alone. I'm really excited to bring this vision to life with other people because creating only comes from diversity. You can't create if it's all the same. And I'm really excited to transform and thrive into this person that is going to take it one step at a time to get to where they think they're supposed to be going and to trust that the right people and the right resources and the right people will come at the right time as long as I keep the vision, like keep hold of the vision and keep hold that I'm the one that is here for this because I believe in it more than anything. And so I'm excited to be about the people. We are all we need.
I'm excited for you to bring it to life, especially since you have shared it with me in the past, and it even connects to what you were saying about intentionally choosing collaboration with people and following your intuition. So now it's the next part is getting started and bringing it to life. So definitely excited to be able to
Yeah.
even share more to my networks to amplify everything you'll be creating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's really exciting. And I
Yeah.
love the idea of like just bringing in all these other experts and other teachers.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would love to ask the last question of like, how do you hope your story will help others?
I felt very lost for so much of my life and didn't trust that everything was like going to reveal itself in its own time. And that feeling lost, kind of taking it back to the top when we said, this avoidance. it's not that I wasn't self-aware. I was aware that I was doing this thing, but I didn't
Mhm.
know how to and even if I was intellectually aware of it, I still had to meet the right teachers, meet the right people, go through what I had to go through, the loss I experienced, the love I experienced, the new people that came I there's so much that has had to happen for me to finally feel like this is what it was all for. And it took me decades to be on that journey. And even again, even when you intellectually know it, or even when you set out on the journey, it doesn't mean that you have the courage to change it. So I hope if anybody gets anything from my story and my journey, it's that if you do trust yourself and you do, or at least learn to trust yourself, then you're going to be learning to trust a lot more than just yourself. And I find it very I find that I don't even have the words. Like, I hope that for anybody that feels lost, to know that you will find yourself. When the time's right, you will find yourself and you will have the courage to do the thing you never thought you'd be able to do. And even while you're doing it, you'll be growing. So,
Yeah. No, and
yeah.
thank you for sharing that because it is really hard when you're in the thick of it, transforming yourself to see it. And then once like a year from now, you'll reflect back on the growth, the learning, and like how it stretched you to become someone new and like a better version of yourself that it was meant to be because you were trusting yourself to in the journey. So it's like one step at a time. Or even I look at sometimes one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, and just to keep going. Yeah.
Right. One moment at a
Well,
time. And
mhm,
the other thing, because of our industry and the background that we both have, it can be really hard because, looking at my resume and looking at my background, it's like, these are big name places I've worked. These are like big, like, I did a lot. I did the thing. I did the thing I set out to do, but it's okay that there was still more for me in
mhm,
a different way. And even feeling lost in the doing of that was part of it, even though there was still this path that you were on. And so I think that's a part of this that we never know what's going on with people on the inside, but
mhm.
a lot of our a lot of our stories can be a lot more universal than we realize because of the world we live in and because of the places and the ways that we might feel and process and yeah, neurocomplexity and we all have beating hearts,
Yeah,
beating and bleeding hearts.
and that's a good reminder where people can look good on paper, but you don't know what's going on the inside, and it's also okay to choose differently. I think it's important to make sure you're aligning to your values and being able to redefine what that looks like, and that doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey.
So,
And so being able to assess that now is so important. And what you even said it earlier was the reason you that drove you to do that was even for being after becoming a mom and to wanting to be that North Star of like, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I chose differently and having that alignment.
wow. Having a purpose that's beyond yourself really helps.
Yes.
Because it'll get you through the discomfort because it's not just sometimes we have this bad habit of not allowing ourselves to be the reason or
Mhm.
like not being enough for us to do it for ourselves. So bringing in your community and bringing in others into your why is a really important step for doing it anyway. Doing like feeling the fear or feeling the discomfort of growth and doing it anyway because it's not about you,
Right.
not
So
always.
important. Well, thank you for joining today's conversation, and I really hope for everyone listening in that this episode it gave you something meaningful to even reflect on from her story to carry with you. And if this conversation resonated with you, please share it with someone who may need to hear it. And Be sure to subscribe and connect with Transform and Thrive. And remember that growth is not about perfection, it's about awareness, intention, and becoming. And until next time, hope everyone continues to transform and thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jesselyn. Thanks, everyone.